Earlier, I spoke to CCTV Global Economics Analyst Saruhan Hatipoglu. I asked him if it was possible that the Turkish President Erdogan staged the coup.
The more we learn about what is happening, including high-level arrests, for example, the president's chief military assistant was detained today. I think the probability of that scenario is less likely. It's looking less likely, but it's still too early to say that this was not manufactured by the president and his group. But my personal opinion is that the probability is looking less and less.
You have several high-ranking commanders, the commanders of the 2nd and 3rd Army, his chief of air staff, one of Turkey's most senior judges. What do you make of all this political opposition to him?
Well, the political opposition has always been there, so that's no surprise really to anybody living in Turkey or following the country. It is not only within the military, it is within judiciary, it is within legislative as well. There are certain AK Party members that don't see eye to eye with President Erdogan. So this level of opposition, to me, is not surprising. Of course, what has happened, what has taken place, was what was surprising. Nobody expected that the military itself was this divided within itself, that the events on Friday unfolded.
Of course, he's blaming this exiled cleric Gulen, who was once a political ally of his. What is he basing this blame on, and what proof do you think he has?
Well, that's a very good question. I don't think he has proof in that he can send, for example, that kind of a set of proofs to the United States asking the U.S. to extradite Mr. Gulen. This is an excuse that's used quite a bit by this government, though. Whenever there is something that the president wants to push forward and it doesn't get forward, there's always this parallel structure. But I'll say this, in Euclidean geometry, any lines that have intersected once, by definition, cannot be parallel. These individuals were very good friends. Mr. Gulen helped Mr. Erdogan get to power with AK Party. And the fact that his chief military assistant was detained today, like I said earlier, if he's associated with the Gulen movement and the president himself did not know this individual was part of that network, I think that shows a huge security deficit within the structure of the Turkish government, which is something that we all need to be concerned about.
He knows the law in the United States. If he doesn't have any proof, why is he pushing Secretary of State John Kerry to extradite Gulen?
Well, because his supporter, he's selling this idea to the supporters. Look, we have people celebrating on the streets of Turkey. I don't know what is there to celebrate, really. There are 300 people died, should be a national day of mourning, but we look at the streets of Istanbul, Ankara, major cities, people out there celebrating because this is another victory against the parallel structure. He's selling it like that. So it makes absolute sense to me that this is part of the scenario that is like, whether it's true or not, of course, I don't know for sure, but this is what he's sticking with. We don't have any proof. He hasn't shown any proof to the public. And of course, the United States is going to ask, Secretary Kerry asked for that. In the I think coming couple of weeks, we're going to see what the government is going to provide to the United States as part of proof, but I don't expect anything tangible at this point.